There are several women that we include as powerful women who we find are worthy of understanding better and emulating, and who we think all organizations would do better if they could learn from these women. There's a woman called Cint Marshall, who is the first Black female CEO of a men's basketball team. She's the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, and we interviewed her several times. And Cint has this great philosophy of management, which is about bringing your whole self to work. She says, you know, people don't go to work and stop in a phone box on the way to the office and change into a Superman coat. They arrive at work with all of their family baggage with them, what's going on at home with them. And guess what? That's a positive. And I thought that was really, we just thought initially it was a kind of nifty management strategy. But actually, if you broaden it out, it's a really powerful way of redefining power, that we bring all of ourselves to our positions of power. And that can be a good thing, because actually we are all peoples and individuals. And for managers to recognize that perhaps if somebody's underperforming at work, is it not just about the work, but is something going on at home? Is something going on with their kids in school? And being able to have those conversations, I think, with your associates. In Cint's experience, and she's a woman who's done incredibly well, risen up through the ranks of AT&T and corporate America as a Black woman, was not an easy thing to do in the 1990s and aughts. And the way she talks about it is by saying you have to see your associates as individuals who have all of their life experience in the job with them. And actually that can be a valuable, useful tool. And if you can tap into that as a manager, you will get more out of your associates and your organization will do better. So she was a great example. Another one we interview at length is Zanny Minton Beddoes, who is the editor-in-chief, so many of them are firsts, the first female editor-in-chief of The Economist magazine, who's actually an old friend of ours. And Zanny was very interesting about having power. She really says she doesn't like necessarily to use the word power, because it has, for women, I think, so many negative connotations. She thinks of it in terms of leadership. But the way she finds real satisfaction is by thinking of the organization of a whole. She says she gets intense satisfaction when the magazine as a whole does really well, and when the people working under her are really satisfied with their jobs. And she says, I love giving credit to other people. She says, whenever the magazine does well, the first instinct is to give credit to other people. But it's not just a great motivational tool. It also is a defining aspect, I think, of how women think about power. She said, you know, she's a wordsmith and she thinks carefully about words. And she said, look, I don't want this to sound like a kind of Pollyanna-ish cliche, but it's really not about me. It's about the organization. And I just thought that was also a very unique way of looking at power.